Hello,
Well, hello there.
welcome to another Robot Gentleman live stream. And we gathered here today because it's been 10 years since we released 60 seconds.
10 years. Very long time. A decade.
A decade, yeah. Actually, it's 25% of my life is 60 seconds. How about you?
Pretty much so, yeah. Roughly the same. I'm slightly younger than you, so...
Yeah.
Oh yeah, by the way, this is Julius.
And this is Dominic.
Yes, and 10 years ago we made 60 seconds. The game. The
Yeah.
Atomic Adventure.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
I remember, because I was thinking about it this morning, that 10 years ago, but it was Monday.
It was a Monday.
It was a Monday, yeah.
Okay.
But when it was Sunday, the day before, we already were a day before the release, and it was extreme.
Not your usual Sunday, I guess.
Yeah, no, because we had some ideas that we wanted to improve with 60 seconds, and yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, thus begins, I guess, the celebration of the 10th anniversary of 60 Seconds. Obviously, we start with the stream, and we're going to have some interesting topics to talk about, for you, I hope. But that's not all. We're going to have a bunch of other things happening over the course of the next week and weeks to follow. And actually, this entire year, it's going to be a big one, we think, for 60 Seconds and all the 60 Seconds fans out there. For you?
Yeah, definitely stay tuned to our all the social media, and we prepared a lot of stuff for you. But yeah, today we're gonna talk about the past, what happened 10 years ago, and mostly 10 years ago.
Yes, so it's going to be a bit of an archaeological stream.
Kind of.
Kind of.
We're gonna show you some stuff that we are not showing really often.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about some trivia and fun facts from the development of 60 Seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and we're gonna
all exclusive content.
Exclusive, very.
Very.
And we're gonna look at the trailer of 60 Seconds, because that's when it all began.
Mm-hmm.
We're working on 60 Seconds as a game, but yeah, we were actually at the point when we had a game, but we didn't know if we're gonna release it on Steam, because back then it was different procedure.
Oh, way different, way more difficult. It wasn't about wondering whether your game is going to be seen by the audience and get players interested. It was, the first step was to whether it was going to get onto a platform, to be sold at all to Steam. Not that many games got onto Steam back then.
Yeah. So what we had to do, we had to prepare a pitch for a game, and the best way to create a pitch for the game was a game trailer.
Yeah, the original 60 Seconds game trailer. And yeah, I guess what a better way to start today's discussions and a fun session of sharing different exclusive information than to rewatch this trailer that might have been the first contact for a lot of you with the 60 Seconds. So let's do that. Let's enjoy the original trailer of 60 Seconds.
Meet Ted, a hard-working citizen and a family man. Hello, Ted. Wait a minute, what's that sound? Oh no, it's the nuclear bomb alarm. Not to worry. The government's superb early warning system gives Ted enough time to take cover. Don't just stand there, Ted. You've got 60 seconds. That's more than Ted needs to collect supplies essential for survival. Aren't you forgetting something, Ted? Remember to take your family with you. That's it. Take cover. But this isn't over yet. Day by day, Ted and his family must survive in the fallout shelter for as long as they can. They have to ration food and water, send expeditions to the wasteland when supplies run low, and cope with unexpected situations, making decisions that will affect their future. That's right, Ted. You show those mutant cockroaches. Ted can now safely enjoy those charming sunsets over the radioactive wasteland with his loved ones. Good luck, Ted. The government does not take responsibility for hardship, difficult and irreversible decisions, and canned soup diet that will follow.
Wow,
Yeah.
that was a good trailer. I'd buy that game.
Well, not only you, because thanks to the trailer, a lot of people said I would buy that game, and because of that, we could be on the Steam front page.
Exactly. That was thousands of people, actually, as far as I remember.
Thousands.
Thousands. I think it was over 5,000 people that upvoted us, and that immediately punched us all the way up to the top of the queue. So we got Greenlight in, I think you remembered the number. It was 3 days?
4 days.
4 days.
I think it was 4 days, which was already
Really quick.
some kind of a record, but well, not as like a huge record, because that was the time when they were like speeding things up,
Yeah.
and 2 months later they canceled the Greenlight and just let anyone to publish their game on Steam under different circumstances.
But I guess what it is today, which is you pay a fee and you get access for at least one game. Yeah, it was a lot of fun to make that trailer. I think first thing I noticed was when the trailer starts, it's Robot Gentleman Studios. It's not Robot Gentleman.
Yeah. That was the time when we still called it Robot Gentleman Studios.
Yes, that's my fault entirely. I used to work at Lionhead Studios, and other game studios also had studios in the name rather than a single studio, because it's always better to have studios than studio. So it sounded kind of refined and game development-y, I guess. So it was
Well-
Robot Gentleman Studios.
Well, in 2015 it was totally natural to call it Robot Gentleman Studios. I remember we were like keep on calling that like for some time. We changed that after the release of 60 Seconds.
Yeah. Also, obviously the logo was the one from 2015, not the new one that we've been using since 2022. Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So very retro. And someone said on the chat, nostalgic. Oh, absolutely. It's the nostalgia is through the roof.
That's true. But when I look at it, I also remember that we were very not ready to release because the game wasn't ready, and there was a lot of stuff missing. But working on the trailer, we actually were working also on the, well, back then I didn't know we did that, but we were working also on the game assets.
Yeah, so being a garage indie studio, we had to make a lot of clever decisions about how to budget our resources, I guess. And one of them, as it turned out, was in the trailer, you could see Ted in front of his house, of the family's house. And that's exactly the same view you'll later see in the main menu of Seconds, because we thought, why not reuse it? It's a fun entry into the game. You come in and there's this suburban house which is about to get bombed. So you get a bit of tranquility at the beginning, and then you enter the very frantic, very crazy survival in the atomic apocalypse.
Yeah. Actually, like I didn't remember that, but I think we were talking about it earlier today. And yeah, that's true. We actually made the house for the trailer, and then we reused it in the game. Yeah, but you know what I remember also?
Yeah.
I think we at some point really tried to put the part of the trailer at the beginning of the game as a cinematic.
We did. We actually did. We actually checked out the original version of the game that we released for Steam back in 2015, and it still has the trailer at the beginning. It's not the entire trailer. It goes up until 60 seconds shows up, but yeah, it was there. It was there, but then people complained it's there, so we we added. There was a skipping option from the beginning. I was prudent enough to put it in immediately, but then yeah, people just skipped it anyway, so that's what happened. But yeah, it was a defining moment for the game in terms of, I guess, publicity, because that was when a lot of people on Steam found out about the game and loved the concept, because not only was it so nicely delivered by the title itself, but also, I guess, the story that we told in that trailer. Your art, my writing, Duffy Weber's narration.
Oh yeah, narrator.
Yeah, the narrator was fantastic, and I think the concept stage for designing the trailer, for thinking about it, was very quick because we immediately knew we wanted to make this in the form of a public service announcement and this 1950s narrator telling you about, oh, it's the nuclear bomb alarm.
Yeah. We actually really knew what we wanted. We had a reference, we just went through the idea.
Yeah.
We even like I remember I was imagining the exact voice I wanted for the trailer. We had this audition, so we actually could listen to a lot of people auditioning for the trailer, but they were all really good.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But only one stood out.
Only
That
one.
was Daffy Weber.
The one.
Yeah.
Well, fun fact, later he kept collaborating with us, still is, and he voiced pretty much all of the 60 franchise trailers for different platforms, for 60 parsecs, for 60 seconds reatomized. And someone asked in the chat, I saw, about are there any other 60 universe games coming out? And the short answer is yes. And they're definitely going to have a narrator in the trailer.
Definitely.
Definitely. And fingers crossed, it's Daffy Weber.
Yeah. I think it's a really high chance that's gonna happen.
I hope so. Yeah.
The Daffy collaboration.
The Daffy collaboration. Yeah.
But also what we did, we haven't done that in the later trailers, is that we made it really look old, like all the filters, sound filter and everything. After all, we kind of stopped doing that next trailers. But this one had to be like the old public service announcement, as you said, very old school, distorted, looking like it was like recorded from VHS tape or whatever.
Yeah. Like I said, it was a lot of fun. I think a lot of the thanks for the trailer looking as it looked so well goes to you because of your training, of your professional experience from making films, and that was definitely our asset to start with. It's always been our asset because I mean, if you follow us on YouTube or otherwise, you probably know that we make a lot of videos, like a lot. So if we didn't make games, we'd make videos exclusively, I think.
Like we always wanted to make videos, like well, yeah, as you said, maybe because of my background, but actually our both backgrounds.
Yeah, true.
Actually, when we met, and you probably know the story because we already told it.
No, tell me. I'm interested.
So actually met like 20 years ago, something like that.
25, I want to say. Almost 25.
Seriously?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, we were like actually both met on a message board that was like focusing on the special effects, like practical special effects. So we both, when we met, we met by our hobby of making movies, videos. And yeah, like to this day, we actually are making videos at least once a year. You already know. Hopefully, Mary Jane birthdays. And if you haven't watched them, go and watch them. Oh, not now though. Like after.
Yeah, after the stream.
After the stream.
There's 7 of them, and they're really cool, and they're different. Each of them, and every one of them is different, which is great.
But more on that later. But talking about the trailer and all the work for the 60 seconds, like also the screen of sunset. Right? Like
Yeah. Ted watching the sunset over the radioactive wasteland with his loved ones.
Yeah. That was
Good luck, Ted.
Wow. So that was actually made mostly for the trailer.
Yes.
But there's another moment when we had when the game is ending, we need to somehow show the game is ending, and the Ted is saved by the military, and looking at the radioactive wasteland. But yeah, like that was made for the trailer. But then we were like, okay, that's the perfect ending. So
yeah,
another asset we can take and reuse it for the game.
Exactly. Fun fact in terms of endings: the original release of 60 Seconds in 2015 only had one positive ending, and that was you getting rescued by the military. You didn't have twins, you didn't have all the Sharikov endings, etc. It was only the army rescuing you. Imagine that. Yeah, and it took us over the course of a number of years. We released 4 big DLCs, which packed a lot of new content into the game, and that brought you all the extra events, extra expeditions, extra assets, and extra endings. It's important to remember, all of them were released for free because we thought that's the way to go. Kind of an old school way to approach the development of your game. When you push out a DLC, you want to expand the game and not overcharge the players for extra content. Even though all of that content was not planned before the launch. So oftentimes you have these theories about, oh, the developers cut something and then they release it after the launch as a DLC and they want extra money for it. But the truth is, there was only one thing that got cut out of the original 60 seconds. You remember what that was?
No.
No?
Oh yeah, the padlock?
No, the padlock was conceived for one of the DLCs. It was...
No.
Yes.
We had the padlock, but we didn't include it in the first game. But we already had it done.
No, but I was later.
Okay.
I think it was at the stage of the DLC design.
So, Pancake?
Pancake.
Oh, yeah.
Pancake was originally supposed to be one of the collectible items in the house, so you were supposed to collect the family, but also Pancake the dog. But during development, we realized that it'll be more fun if Pancake's an exclusive character that you only meet during the survival stage, and there is a bit of that has to go on so that Pancake joins you in the Fallout shelter, and later you have adventures together.
Yeah. And I know, I can't remember when we actually start talking about the cat as well, but I think that was much later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cat Sharikov came much later.
Yeah.
Wow. Now I realize.
Yeah.
We were looking through different references we put in 60 seconds. Pop references, cultural references. And you've been pretty successful as fans to trace most of them, I think. I saw lists and like 99% of the references we made in the game got found and are described properly. But there are actually some that were not found, or were not identified at least, and described anywhere on the internet, the wide internets.
Like what?
Like Sharikov, actually. Sharikov is a reference to Mikhail Bulgakov's novel, A Dog's Heart.
Really?
It is.
Well, I didn't know that.
There you go.
Wow, now I know.
So that's an extra reference for you, but there's actually more. We actually put a lot of... there's a lot of cultural jokes that got found out, but there's also some internal ones, especially in Scavenge. And I think Scavenge and Survival, actually, to be fair. So I think there was a lot of commotion around a certain achievement called the Miracle. A lot of people were wondering how to get the Miracle, to get all the achievements from the game, and many people did not get it in the end.
Well, it's one of the most elusive one to get, because there was never a definite information how to get it. Even when I was looking at different Wikipedias or whatever, people were still having just theories how to make it, how to get it. And none of them were actually consistent enough to to give someone else a solution.
Yeah.
Do this and that. It was maybe that is connected to this, and just go do that every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But there was a very simple thing to do. It still is. You have to listen to the radio.
You have to listen to radio.
And you have to hear a certain jingle.
Yeah.
To
Let's
start
hear it.
with.
Let's hear it now.
Let's hear the jingle.
Pankrova. Pankrova FM.
All right.
That
Yeah.
takes me back.
Oh yeah, that's actually high school.
High school.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a long, long time ago, Julius and his friend at the time, my friend later, Kacper, conceived a very unique character. A character called Pankrova,
Yeah.
which translates into Mr. Cow. That is Mr. Cow.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah.
Yeah. Admire him. Or it, please, because he's, yeah.
Well, you cannot like
You cannot gender.
the
Pankrova.
divine. Yeah.
Yeah, so Pankrova is a unique divine bovine character who, I know, exists in time and space all around, and it enjoyed its own comic books drawn by this gentleman over here. Pankrova had a radio station that we run together for a few years,
Yeah, it's true.
bringing the best Pankrova hits and jingles like this one to the 3 listeners that listen to that radio.
Yeah, but it
regular
was
basis.
like on the Winamp app. If any of you remember Winamp, it actually had radio stations.
Yep.
What we did was like started our own radio station and internet radio station that we mostly put on like music that we like, and well, mostly that. Sometimes we were talking like on the radio. It was just like some gibberish or
Oh dear, did we have a podcast because before it was cool?
if well, if you call it like that, I think all radio stations have podcasts that are just radio auditions.
Okay, we had a cowcast.
Cowcast, yeah,
Cowcast.
yeah, something like that. But yeah, it was mostly music and us talking and maybe doing some kind of like interaction with the listeners, like, hey, do you know what this song is about, or what from what movie it's from, right? It was something like that. And at some point we had regular listeners. I think it were like around 20, 30. One time there was like one of my friends was actually saying that they're listening to the radio on the party, and they started to ask about songs, and we were like doing the
Yeah,
song.
that happened. That happened. So there's a lot of nostalgic baggage here that we decided to put in the first game that we released, because why not? So Pankrova makes an actual appearance in 60 seconds on the as 2 pictures on the walls of the McDoodle house, and then Mr. Krova, Pankrova. I'm starting to mix the names here, translations. Makes a comeback in the survival portion of the game, where you can listen to the first jingle I heard on the radio, and then on another day you can listen to the second jingle. Cue the jingle.
Szukam złomu i nie powiem nic nikomu. Szukam złomu i nie powiem nic nikomu. Szukam złomu i nie powiem
Ta-da! And if you listen to both these jingles on the right day, that's how you get the miracle achievement.
Exactly that.
Exactly that. So after the stream, if you don't have the miracle achievement, go and get it. I'm sure you'll be able to do that.
I have a question from the audience. Is there gonna be a question phase? Well,
Good question.
good question. That's a really good question.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. We'll try to share some cool facts with you today and talk about some stuff regarding 60 seconds, but we'd really love to hear your questions. We'd be happy to answer as many of them as we can today.
And I can answer one of them. That was a couple of seconds ago. Is it a Mootopia a reference to Mr. Cow? And the answer is yes. Mootopia in 60 parsecs is a whole planet-wide a reference to Mr. Cow, and
Ta-da!
there it is.
This is Mr. Cow, Pankrova.
Yeah.
In the
Um,
statue version.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm just going to put it back.
Yeah, he's gonna guard you there.
Yep.
The artifact, yeah.
The
actually, is,
artifact.
Yeah. So
Can we get a better view of the artifact? Okay, one more time then. For all you Pankrova fans out there. Yeah, we should totally think about making an award called the Pankrova Award.
yeah,
Yeah,
like for the games or
I don't know, for
any
something.
kind of media.
I don't know. Media, I don't know. Best soup, something.
Oh,
So many options.
right.
So little time.
Yeah. So we actually inserted more than just Mr. Cow into the game because like we were working on a game and we had to like have our own assets, but not only we created assets, we also get some assets from
From the asset store.
the assets.
Yeah. So we used Unity for 60 seconds originally. And one of the cool things back then was that you could use an asset store where you could buy or get for free some extra assets. And around the time Wasteland was released, the
Wasteland
game
2.
was it 2 already? Oh yeah, obviously, yeah. Wasteland 2 was released around that time. And they made the game in Unity as well, and but they also contributed a lot of the assets to the asset store. And we used some of their assets that they shared so graciously to prototype the levels for 60 seconds, the house. Most of them, I think, got removed in the end because we wanted to have 3D assets that were of our own making and our own style. But there's a few that remain. I think one of them is the bicycle still in there?
I'm not sure is it still there, but it was there on the release day, definitely.
Okay, yeah. So there might be 1 or 2 assets that we share with Wasteland 2, another post-apocalyptic game. That's fun stuff.
Yeah. Wasteland 2 was a post-apocalyptic game, yeah. But also we had to fill in the rooms with different stuff. So basically, there's a lot of stuff like simple toys or whatever, but also the magazines.
Oh yeah, the magazines.
Because at some point we got the texture for the magazines, and they were not ours. It was like from someone different, and at some point we had to actually include our own assets. So what you see right now is the effect that was after the redoing the magazines with our own art, and you can see the weird magazines that I made in not really thinking much about it, but those are like my own drawings from different time. Like that. Thing.
That's actually another reference that went unnoticed, I guess. The thing is clearly a Beksiński reference.
Yeah.
It's definitely the style. While the Cold War magazine, that's an internal reference, I guess. So pretty hard for anyone other than people who know you to
I barely know that, and I drew it.
That's Comrade Kwant from Julius's college animation.
Yeah.
Diploma animation. Yeah.
Yeah. So we actually were doing all those things like pictures, photos of the family members, but how many times you can have Mr. Cow and the family. We also included our own.
Also another Mr.
Yeah. Those are the drawings of us. You can see them right now. I think that's me.
That's you.
That's you.
That's
me. Yeah.
That's you. That's your interpretation of you.
There's also you.
Yes, and that's your interpretation of me from 2015.
Yeah.
Less beard.
So actually, when you're running around in the scavenge phase of 60 seconds, you can see those faces, or you can not see those faces because you are running for your life and for your family. But yeah, it's all there. It's all there.
On the walls.
Yeah.
Hidden in places. I remember pestering you about the magazines because we wanted to have some fun clatter in and actually decorate, so it's not just like a sterile house with no
course.
nothing on the ground. That's why, you know, the kids' room is so filled up with toys and the magazines near Mary Jane's bed, etc. Although I have no idea why she would be reading the 70 magazine.
Well, me
Beats me.
neither. No idea. Yeah, but that's another thing was that when we were like in the our objective was to fill in the walls. We also included something else. We included an animation that is that was one of the inspirations for the trailer, duck and cover.
The game in its entirety, actually.
Yeah.
And yeah, and the trailer, so that can cover, as you said, a public service announcement animation from the 1950s about the dangers of nuclear warfare and how to survive by ducking and covering.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, that does not work.
They thought differently. So yeah, we actually redrew the turtle in our own style, and yeah, we also put it on the wall.
Yeah, we actually wanted to put the original one, I think, but the copyright issue was unclear. We weren't certain if it is in public domain yet or not, and we didn't find a definite answer, so we swapped it for our own.
Yeah. But still as a tribute.
Oh yeah, it's obviously a tribute and also a lost reference because I've never seen anyone mention it before.
Yeah,
on the internet, so.
honestly, it's not like a thing. When I was raised on cartoons, right? But watching even the oldest cartoons, I haven't seen that. Well, that's, you know, like not maybe a cartoon for a kid in 80s or 90s, but yeah, I actually haven't saw a lot of that reference before.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, of course, there's another reference to the other game that was never released.
Not yet released.
Not yet released.
Still in production. Never cancelled.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had a game called. We have a game called Mr. Pancake: How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Go Back in Time. It's a handful, but a Kubrick reference. And we had some art for the game that looked nice. So we thought, why not put it in the game? And thus we have one picture of Mr. Pancake on the wall of the McDowell residence.
Yeah, that's that.
There he is. Mr. Pancake. And watch it.
Yeah. It's very dark though.
Yeah.
And I think that one of those pictures that people couldn't see clear enough, but it's there, and it's a trigger definitely for our own creations. Yeah. What else is there? I think there's also a Dolores picture.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we were digging through the files and we realized this is the only known picture of Dolores semi-smiling.
Oh, until then, because later we actually let her smile a little bit in some promotional art. But back then it was like the best I can do is that. Like drawing her was like well, a little bit difficult because, you know, like we're trying to, you know, like catch the hair and everything. But smiling, it was
beyond
beyond
anything possible.
So yeah, that was all we could.
Do you remember the original face of Dolores' character when you collected her in Scavenge?
Yeah, I remember.
Julius got all the faces right the first time. Mary Jane and Timmy pretty much looked the same way they looked in the release version of the game, but Dolores looked differently, and I think the makeover that you did later benefited her.
Oh yeah.
She looks like a person. That's the story with it. Yeah, she's much more memorable as a character and a human being.
Someone actually asked, did she have a bad childhood? Well, you don't have to, you know, like experience a bad childhood just to be. Yeah. So next thing.
I mean, most people from that generation had potentially bad childhood, so you can assume yes.
Yeah, probably. But I don't think that's just her character. You know, like she's unmoved, but
Yeah, yeah.
doesn't mean she's suffering
Mm.
yet. They kind of suffer a little bit in the shelter, but back then,
Just
before,
a bit.
just a little bit. Yeah, but yeah, all the references, all the trivia. Like I think you get some more about what's going on in the game beside the pictures.
True, true. So digging for stuff, I wrote all these things here in this very journal. Like our journals. I think fun fact about the journal, actually from the game. You know how journal is written in a very peculiar way, where you always have it written like there's multiple people in the shelter, even when there's one person, especially when it's Ted only. And we noticed this problem early on, but of course we wanted to, you know, because of the constraints in writing and how to parameterize text, we thought we want to keep it in plural so that it works in most situations. But for these very specific situations when there's only one person left, we had to give them a companion. And it so happened that when you're left alone in the shelter, Dolores usually means that other people perished in some way, which instantly hits you in terms of sanity. So obviously what happens is you get a companion, as Ted at least. This guy.
This guy. Yeah, that was the way to, you know, like to explain why all the writings are plural, not like I am in the shelter, we are in the shelter,
We
y'all
are in the shelter.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So.
Yeah.
What's up, buddy?
Yeah. So that was the sock puppet. Actually, an interesting piece of lore about it, because I noticed someone thought that the sock puppet thing was a reference to Fallout 3 and the Vault 77, where a guy was stuck with sock puppets or something. We actually didn't know about it at the time, and the reason why we included the sock puppet in the game was what we just discussed, to have Ted get a companion in case
Yeah.
he's on his own.
Well, yeah. When I wasn't thinking about that could be a reference. I think it's a reference to, you know, like actually very popular thing. You know, like when you're crazy, you're talking to your
Sock puppet?
Yeah.
It's a normal. Don't you do it?
It's a normal thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Normal insanity thing. Yeah.
Normal insanity thing. Yeah.
There's a question: why Mary Jane picked the tuba of all instruments to play?
That's an excellent question.
Great question.
Yeah. Yeah, I think because the original concept for Mary Jane did not have an instrument.
Yeah, but we wanted her to do something, being busy, because if the family would just like sit around in the house,
True.
there would be like they should also be running around grabbing stuff, but we couldn't have that. Like we had to put the pressure on Ted as a family man. Like well, later we added Dolores also as a playable character, but at that time our resources were limited to only do like one character, so we put on Ted, and he had to be the one hearing the sirens and reacting. So everyone else is busy, you know, like Timmy is scribbling, Dolores is reading a book.
Yeah, and drinking coffee.
And Mary Jane.
Yeah, we wanted something. I remember we wanted something fun for her. That would be creative, I guess, but wouldn't be like a plaything. Because obviously Timmy's a small kid, so he's playing around with the drawings, with the crayons. But she was supposed to do something, and I think one of the ideas was that she would be reading a magazine or something. But that felt I mean,
Yeah.
Timmy's already kind of lying on the ground, drawing. So we wanted something where she's standing up and it's actually different.
Yeah,
And it
yeah,
felt like she has to play an instrument. She seems like a person who would play an instrument,
yeah.
and it just made sense that it would be something that is trumpet based.
Well, it's funny, you know, like the sound it makes, like it's just funny. Like I find it funny, and
It's very funny. You know when it's the funniest? When accidentally what happened, we didn't plan for it, it's not staged, it just happens. If you jump to the shelter as Ted and you leave Mary Jane behind, you can hear the tuba playing as the bomb explodes.
there's another question. Why not the guitar? And actually, we were thinking about it. Like, those were like one of the what could we add to 60 seconds that wouldn't be like very useful, but fun to gather. And yeah, guitar was one of those. But after we decided for Mary Jane to play tuba, we would rather gather tuba. But
then you get Mary Jane with the tuba, so why would you pick tuba individually? And I think it ended up being the harmonica in one of the DLCs.
Well, yeah, that's easier to like.
It's easier to grab. Yeah. Also a fun instrument, harmonica.
Another question about the references.
Yeah.
Does the soup last for 737 years is a reference to anything?
It's because I like the number 7 and 37 and 3. That's why I decided to write it down as 737. And I remember when that came up first, it was when we were designing the loading screens. We wanted to have these fun loading screens between the menu and when the game starts, etc. So we designed these kind of ad-like loading screens with
pictures,
different products. And actually, we didn't really cut it, but we originally wanted to have a loading screen for every single item found in the game. But for whatever reason, we decided to just stick to the couple of key items. But another fun fact from the loading screens is that we kind of anticipated that the computers at the time would need a bit of time to load the game, so the ad screens, loading screens were necessary. And it was true for some computers, but not all. Actually, the game was optimized so well at the time that if you had a decent enough computer, the ad would just flash for a split second and then disappear. So we had to artificially extend the time you spent on the loading page so you would be able to actually see the ad. So in the original 60 seconds, and maybe even in 60 seconds reatomized still, there is a bit of a delay between going from the menu to the game because we wanted to show you the ad. So yeah, we really liked the ads and we wanted you to see them. So we hope you appreciate them. But actually, yeah, now as some of you, or hopefully all of you know, we're currently rewriting 60 seconds and 60 parsecs and 60 seconds reatomized into the new engine. So that means we might actually put in some extra stuff in the re-released versions when they're ready. Maybe this is one of these things. We want ads for every single item. That would be fun.
Yeah, fun. Who would have to draw it?
The author of the original ads. Who could that be? Yeah.
People are actually asking to see the kids before they were teenagers. Like, well, Mary Jane before she was a teenager and maybe younger Timmy. Well, those are good ideas for any kind of promotional artwork that are...
Hold on. We have an artwork like that.
Of young Mary Jane?
Yes.
Do we?
Yes. We have,
Oh, yeah.
we have one artwork that was, I think it was released earlier this year.
Oh, yeah, of course. With,
Yeah.
With
Yes.
Little Mary Jane. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
little Mary Jane and Timmy still a fetus. in the womb. So you see Dolores is carrying him,
Yeah.
and they were all younger
Yeah.
and happy.
Yeah, true.
Less
Forgot about it.
less survivors of a nuclear apocalypse, more like suburban people.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of, there's an interesting reference, I guess, or like a fun fact. People notice that what you play as is a nuclear family in a game about nuclear apocalypse. We obviously wanted to stylize the family and the setting of the game to be very archetypical of 1950s suburban America, directly taken from these propaganda advertisements and materials. So of course the family had to be wife, the husband, and 2 kids, one's a daughter, one's a son. But at the time, I think we didn't realize it was called a nuclear family. We found out about that later in development as we were writing texts. So it was like, oh, that's a funny, cool coincidence, and it stuck. Nuclear family trapped in a nuclear fallout shelter. If you collect them all, we actually gathered some data recently about how you've been playing the game, and bit of a spoiler, but you'll find out when we release that data that actually a lot of you decide to rescue the family. I thought it would be way less, but actually one of the most popular collected items are family members. Surprisingly, it's not necessarily soup, it's family members.
Yeah, so it's actually interesting. I remember like when we were showcasing 60 seconds for the first time to live public. It was like on expo. People were very, very divided. Like some of them were like family first, and some of them were like, well, I need to survive, so sorry.
So soup.
So soup, yeah.
Soup.
Item soup, yeah. And like then you get the sock, so you're never alone.
True. Oh, speaking of soup, the other question someone asked if the soup actually lasts 737 years.
Yeah.
Because we actually have our own soup and we're waiting. So
Yeah.
it's been 10 years now, and 727 years good to go.
Yeah.
And we'll see. We'll get back to you.
Yeah, we'll let you know as soon as
Yep.
we open that.
Yep.
You probably will hear it or smell it.
One of these things.
Some of you. probably, yeah.
Yeah. Ooh. What other interesting things are there in the game?
Well, the references, I don't think all of the people got all the references.
Yes, and we've mentioned some of them, but I think I was surprised that no one got the one reference to an old movie. That was interesting.
Well, it's a very old movie.
It's a very old movie. You put it in.
That's
Was
my
it-
fault, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, too specific maybe.
Well, like I don't know how many people, like even our age, know that reference. So, what was it?
So there's an event in the game where chess is played, and this reference is to Ingmar Bergman's film *The Seventh Seal*, where the knight plays death.
It's like one of the most, I felt that it was one of the most iconic duels, like chess duels between the death and the knight. So yeah, I thought it was like very obvious reference actually. But the movie is so old and not everyone is interested in old movies, so yeah.
So yeah, this one was never mentioned in any forum or Wikipedia or anything, so that's it. But otherwise, I think you guys did a great job at finding all the references. There's obviously like the few internal ones that we mentioned, a few odd ones that went unnoticed, but seriously, like 99% of the cultural references we made in the game, you caught. Interestingly enough, I thought we, at the time when we were creating the game, that maybe we went a bit overboard with the references, but kind of looking back at it 10 years later, I think it's not too bad, and most of them hold because we didn't really put that many in that were very kind of actual in that time and are now long forgotten. There's some references to maybe older movies or series, but
Games.
but it's all out there. People clearly found them out, so and knew where they came from. So yeah.
I really like the reference about the Merryman, and just
Oh, yeah.
a couple of weeks ago when we were creating the 10-year anniversary promotional art, we actually tried to show all the characters that were referenced, like in the text in the survival phase, and yeah, there was like the question, how should we like show the Merryman? And for me, it's always was a reference for Robin Hood band, right?
Mhm.
For the whole team, but
But specifically,
yeah, but specifically, it was a reference for Men in Tights. Like it's a comedy movie parody of all the Robin Hood movies out there, and because like my sense of humor loves that kind of movies. So if you haven't watched the Men in Tights,
by Mel Brooks.
by Mel Brooks, yeah, you should.
Mhm.
And all of you who got the reference, thank you.
A kind of fun fact that is not about the robot universe, but one of the actors from the main roles in Men in Tights actually has important roles in recent games from Remedy. In Control, for sure. He's, I think, Dr. Darling or whatever.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think he was called Will Scarlett O'Hara in the movie in Men in Tights.
Ah, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So if you've seen Dr. Darling, he's one of the Men in Tights.
They're from Jersey.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. Do you have any more interesting questions?
Yeah, I'm looking at them.
You have all the chat previews. I don't see my chat preview.
Yeah, our screen's dead.
Yeah, it died.
But yeah, like someone's actually wondering what we mean by celebrating for weeks. So basically, since we were working on Mary Jane birthday video that we're gonna talk about later today, we are preparing for all the stuff we wanted to do for the 10th anniversary. And some of it's ready, and you already seen the art, and the stream right now is one of the celebrations.
Elements of the wider celebrations. Well, we've got a couple of things in store. Some are games related, some are not games related.
Yeah, we're planning to actually do a live, real life exhibition of this will be focusing on 60 seconds, but that's gonna be later this year in October.
Yeah, so if you're around Poznań, Poland in October.
Around PGA 2025. It won't be on the venue. It would be rather in other place that we also, I think, will introduce and try to tell the story about the place, like physical place here in Poznań that we created.
The question is when? PGA, I think it's October, late October probably.
Yeah, something around 20 or I don't know. No.
It's a bit away, so we'll be making the proper announcements, and you guys will know it all way ahead of the event.
Yeah.
So not to worry.
What else is there is that, well, I don't want to spoil everything, but we are preparing, and we have prepared some stuff. A couple of videos that you will see sooner or later, next week probably, and the next after that. And we also prepared another live stream, other than that today, because we are talking about the past. And the next live stream gonna be next Sunday, same time, and we're gonna talk about the future.
Yeah. So nostalgia today, the future next week.
Yeah.
Speaking of the past, someone asked a great question. Where did you get the idea to make 60 seconds game? I think there are two answers to that, really. So the game itself came from a very simple thought, which was, what would you do if you had 60 seconds before the world would end, and this was a kind of high concept that we translated into the game that became 60 seconds. But the kind of second reason was, let's say, technological. We were working on, or I was working on Mr. Pancake the game, and I couldn't convince Juliusz to come fully on board. So I had the clever plan to try a different technology for the engine of the game at the time, but also to entice Juliusz to join in and maybe contribute more to game projects. And we came up with the 60 concept to kind of test that tech, but also to lure Juliusz in, and he took the bait.
Well, you told me that it's gonna take 1, maybe maximum of 2 months of production.
That was the pitch. The game would take 2 months. But we found out the game had so much potential, we decided to stick with it, and we finished it in a year and a half.
Yeah.
All totally planned.
Well, you know, like I regret nothing. So I'm really happy that you were trying so hard to bring me to the project. It wasn't like the first time we were like working together on a game. We actually had some other stories about that, because the first time we were working on a game, it was in the first year of college, 20 years ago. But maybe on that other time.
Yeah, that's a whole different story that we definitely need to talk about at some point. The notebook is not empty. The problem with me and my notebooks is that I have stuff in every single notebook, and I have 30 of them. None of them are full. That's the issue.
Actually, I brought you one notebook. Do you still use it?
Which one? Oh, yes.
From
yeah.
India.
It was used for Mr. Pancake, but also Stray, and also another game that is going to be released sometime soon, I hope.
All right.
Yeah. So, yeah. But now it has its own, I think, set of 3 notebooks, that game.
All right.
Yeah. That's going to be a bigger game than 60.
Mysterious. Somebody asked, it's been 10 years? Yes. But I also thinking about... I forgot.
Too many things on your mind.
Yeah,
after 10 years.
Yeah, because someone also asked like about the videos. Like, yeah, we also are making more videos this year, obviously, but we also had a different setup, and I'm really wondering, like, and that was on my mind. How do you like our new setup? Because you can see that we are from different angles, and we are really proud to, you know, like to create more and more professional, I would say, setting for our conversations. We have the actual fire that is like burning. We have cameras. We have really nice like scenery here.
True. We might just launch a podcast. We've got the full setup now, so why not? If you enjoy us rambling in front of the fireplace. Oh, fun fact about the robots, I guess. We have semi-regular meetings of the entire studio, which are called fireplace, fireside chats, and we always have this fireplace running at the time, even when it's remote.
Yeah, but actually, I'm looking at the picture here. Somebody asked, "What's the picture about?" That's a picture that was made for anniversary of 60 parsecs. I think it's the last one. No, it's not the last one. I think it's from the 2 years ago. Yeah, we have them. Actually, we have them on our walls in nice frames.
Yeah, so there's a ongoing series, I guess, of painting tributes.
Yeah.
With 60 parsecs. So for every anniversary, like a bigger thing with 60 parsecs, our artists recreate one of the classical paintings with 60 parsecs characters set up in it. This is one of them.
Yeah.
And there's more.
Yeah.
They're actually above us.
They're above us.
You can't really see them. Sorry.
Yeah.
But
you have to trust them. Like they're there.
Yeah, they're there.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of, I mean, we're actually right now. This is not like a semi truck that we're in, and then we get out of the truck and there's nothing else after we finish the stream. We're in the Robot Gentleman HQ in Poznan, and it's a really cool space. But we've been so busy, like it took so long for us to renovate it and get it prepped, and then we were busy with other things that we never really got a chance to properly show it. So I hope one of the things we're going to do the next couple of months will be, we're going to give you a virtual tour of the studio, and you'll see we have so many cool things here, so many cool things to photograph yourself with. Maybe you've seen the statue of the robot and some of our posts, maybe.
Well, the statue of the robot was like with us on the last live stream behind us.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
So the robot is here with us. That's a fun thing. Every time I walk in, because he's like next to the entrance, I always knock on him, and
You do what?
I knock on him because he's made of metal. So if you knock on him, there's a ding ding.
I'm just like tipping my head and saying good morning, sir.
Does he answer?
Nope.
Like he answers
But one
me.
day.
No, he answers me. I do ding ding. He goes dong dong. Anyway. Yeah. I've got one extra fun fact from Scavenge, which is something I remember we discovered when we were browsing through the old builds. Was we had placeholder stuff for a lot of things. One of them was where the assets that we use from the asset store, so the wasteland assets, to have some sort of level design. But also we didn't have music at the time, and we wanted to put something that would kind of work with the concept of you running around the house and being on kind of high emotion. And eventually we got a dedicated piece for that, and I think it's perfect. Like I still really enjoy listening to every single track that was made for 60 seconds, both kind of originally for the launch, but also later for the DLCs. But for Scavenge, do you remember what track we put in just to have some sort of music running in the background?
The Rite of Valkyries?
The Rite of the Valkyries. Wagner, I believe. Yeah, and it actually worked quite well. I think I remember putting it in, and I think it was a bit of a inspiration from what George Lucas did with the original cut of of Star Wars, when he put music from Ben-Hur before he had the nice score from John Williams, and I think that was the edit that sucked. But it was an interesting way to try to visualize the audio, the music, and it worked for us. I think it gave us a good understanding of which direction we wanted to go with for the Scavenge music.
Yeah, but I would say that's a nice pro tip when you are creating games or videos. When you don't have your music yet, you find the music that supposed to work same way or give you the mood or the pace. And yeah, then you work on your own music, but you already know how to work on the video or on a game. Yeah, you should do that. Like if you are working on a game, working on a video, you don't have your music yet, do that. Like John Williams. No, George Lucas.
George Lucas.
Okay.
Yeah, John Williams doesn't have to do it. He just goes and does his music.
Yeah, with the bells.
Ding, ding. I think that's a cool thing that when we started this whole venture, we actually complemented each other. I think that's why it worked so well, because we were able to pretty much cover most of the bases when designing and creating the game. So obviously we weren't that musical to make good music on our own, but otherwise.
Yeah, but we really knew what we wanted, so it was, I guess, a little bit easier.
It was.
Rather than you just go blind. But yeah.
And if you know from the later DLCs, there's actually a bunch of music in 60 seconds. It was all made by the same composer, Michał Radkowski.
Yeah.
So it was fun collaborating with him because kind of got what we wanted quite quickly, and it was a very smooth collaboration.
Very smooth. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can actually listen to the entire soundtrack of 60 Seconds on Spotify or Apple Music or
Yeah.
any YouTube as well, I guess, and any service of your choice.
Yeah, a couple of days ago, I was posting on Instagram, and also you can like put music on Instagram story, and it was there as well. So you can
Alright.
just like add the soundtrack
Nice.
to your story, and yeah.
If I posted anything on Instagram, I'd post it with every single track of 60 Seconds.
I'm pretty sure you're posting on Instagram once in 5 years,
No, not in the last 5 years, I think.
8 years.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Add 60 Seconds to the Game Boy. That would be fun.
Which one? The first one?
I don't know.
The
I don't know.
old school first Game Boy?
You tell us.
Yeah. you
Which
tell
one?
us.
Which one? The monochrome one. That would be fun.
The first one.
Yeah. Do we have any interesting questions from the audience?
I think we are mostly answering. Oh, okay, sorry. When you said the pancake would be like an collectible item for the scavenge, like how much would you weigh? That's the question.
4.
Or
4, because I'd like to see how many people would still grab him if he weighed 4.
yeah, definitely, I would grab it.
There you go. So, you grab pancake or, 4 soups or half of your family.
Have you ever imagined a 60 seconds music video for a random song you like?
A 60 seconds video for a random song, Rick? Okay.
Well, my answer is like no.
I guess, yeah. It's a novel concept, something to think about. We'll sleep on it. Speaking of, there was a cool musical number by Random Encounters, about 60 seconds.
Oh yeah, the musical.
Yeah, the musical a few years back. that was good fun.
Yeah, like honestly, when you are creating 60 seconds, I haven't been prepared for how much content related to 60 seconds would be created after, like fan arts. They're all awesome, and I was like, yeah, I was shocked how well it was received so much that people wanted to create something for a tribute. But I think the fan arts and cosplay, that was like already huge for me. But the tattoo, somebody actually tattooed Baby Bronco, I think. So thank you, whoever you are.
Okay, that's when you know you've made it, when someone tattooed your game on.
yeah, and musical short video by Random Encounters. That was also like, I haven't been prepared for that. I was like grateful but shocked. Like it's a really well, knowing how to do videos, and sometimes you are just like rolling with it very fast. Still, that musical from Random Encounters is a really big thing. Like you actually had to prepare very well for that, and the execution was perfect. Like I really like it, and yeah, that's a nice tribute.
No, absolutely. They did a fantastic job, and actually, they sold me on all their videos. I've watched other videos by them, and yeah, they're pretty good. So I'd like to do musical videos like that. Maybe we do our own musical video at some point.
Maybe for Mary Jane's birthday.
Perhaps.
Who knows?
If only someone would pitch it.
Well, somebody actually asked the question, were there any scrapped endings for 60 seconds? I think we actually answered that a little bit earlier today, that we actually put more endings later, but we didn't scrap anything before that.
Yeah, so not really. There wasn't, like originally only the army ending was supposed to be kind of canonical. Then because we added more events, more content, we felt, whoa, it would be great to be able to survive in other ways, and everything that came up after was conceived well, like for the DLCs. At this point, I think we actually have plenty of endings. Like, I'd like to add more endings, but because it's already so crowded, we would have to come up with an original way on how to get to that ending.
Yeah, the way you get to the ending, like you would have to put more events. So whenever you're like doing the proper thing on the random event you get that brings you towards the ending you would like or other ending, then you have to have more events, so it would be much more flooded with
It's an interesting problem that we had, and when we designed 60 parsecs, we tried to steer around that. That's why we have, not only because of that, but because you have different planets, then we were able to kind of separate these quest lines for different endings on the respective planets. And even on the planets themselves, there's very clear traversal of going one way or the other. So it's structured a bit better than 60 seconds in that regard, but that doesn't mean we won't add new endings to 60 seconds.
Yeah, but there was another follow-up question, like were there later any endings that we wanted to put but we decided not to? And I am thinking about one, and it's not even an ending, it's something bigger, like a different route for the family.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously, like we get a lot of questions from you about when's the next update, or are you working on 60 seconds? And obviously the answer to all of these things is yes, we're working on 60 seconds. Well, right now as I mentioned before, we're porting 60 to Godot, so that's a bit time consuming. And until we're done with that, we won't really release any new content update, because it just doesn't make sense to update the old versions of the game. But once the Godot version is out, we're hoping to get it out with new content. And in the meantime, we had serious projects, both in terms of updates for the game, for the existing game, but also, let's say, offshoot projects from the 60 universe, also involving the family, the doodles. Oh, actually, this is a fun fact as well. The family was not called McDoodle originally. The surname was not mentioned until we used it later on in marketing, and it was because someone asked me, what's the surname of the family? And I said, McDoodle. And this is an internal reference, I guess, to the fact that they're doing doodles on their journal, so they're McDoodles. And another fun fact, the doodles were quite a late addition. We thought the journal was fun, but it lacked a certain something. We wanted to spice it up, so give it a more individual feel, that the family is actually not just writing in it, but also kind of scribbling something on the margins and whatnot. And we had Julius's friend, Sophie, become the doodle artist, and she drew all the doodles in the journal. So that's why you can enjoy all those really, really weird pictures of individual characters, and not just. So it's interesting that all these things kind of connect together. I jump into one fun fact and we discuss other fun facts, and then it turns out that they're all connected. It's all holistic. Kind of coming back to the original question, we've actually... It might feel like there's a there are long pauses between the updates were released, the games were released, and well, truth be told, we'd love to be able to release games and updates more often, but sometimes there's different factors that come into play that prolong the development. Sometimes it's because of internal quality issues, so something gets to an interesting point, but we don't want to release it yet because it's not of high enough quality. And that was actually the case with one of the content updates that we planned for 60 seconds, but we never released, we never even announced it, which doesn't mean that it won't get released after the Godot versions are out, but it might still take a while, and when we get back to it, it's definitely going to be redesigned to kind of, I guess, fit in with whatever quality benchmarks and new goals we might have for the game and the franchise as a whole.
Yeah. I'm actually liking the, like people are really interested in more lore of the family, and that's one thing that is, like interesting thing to explore, right? And I'm really happy that people are so interested in the characters that they want to know more. So, yeah, a lot of things were like, as you said, about the surname, McDoodles, were just like imagined in a very fast way, and it stayed with us later. And I think that a lot of questions like that. I remember there was a question about the eye color of the characters. Because, like in the representation, graphical representation of 60 seconds, those are just like black dots, right?
Yeah.
But somebody asked me the question, and I was like, well, like Timmy and Dolores have green eyes because they're redheads, so why not? And Ted and Mary Jane either have brown or gray eyes, and like somebody then asked me like, where can I learn those things? And I'm like, well, you don't. They're just like, like a thing we imagined.
Yes, imagination is an important tool in the suite of a game developer. Also making things up as you go. We can attest to the fact that it speeds up development and actually ends up with some pretty convincing and cool ideas. I think that's another thing that worked for us. I think another kind of misconception about game development that is quite interesting is that you might think that, if we have more people, and right now the studio is almost 40 people, and it was just the two of us in the beginning working on 60 seconds. And you might think that with almost 40 people, we might be able to release a game quicker than we did when we were 2 people. And surprisingly enough, that's not true, and usually isn't, because there is, well, for one, usually, when it's just the 2 of you or like a very small group, it's you're working with certain limitations, constraints that you try to work around cleverly, but there is only so much you can do because, well, you're limited by the length of the day, maybe of your limited by your skills, definitely limited by your budget, which was also the case for us. I mean, the original 60 seconds had a budget of $50,000, 15, so it's roughly the same amount of money Kevin Smith pulled for the original Clerks movie. So this is next to nothing for a development of a game that's supposed to reach a wider audience. If you think about AAA games that cost $200 million and way above in some cases, like I guess the new GTA is supposed to be like 1 billion or whatever.
I think it already passed that, but yeah, I heard that as well.
Yeah, so so it turns out that numbers and professionalism that comes with bigger and more experienced studios does not necessarily translate into quicker development. But sometimes it does result in, more polished games.
Oh, that's actually a running topic in the gaming community about, like the scope and the quality. But yeah, like we like to do it the indie way and trying to, like work around our limitations to, like actually bring something in a clever way. And Tadzikowski said the imagination is important. I think this is the clue. Like, we haven't said everything about the family and everything about the world, because the mystery, the thing that you don't know, are actually working on imagination. And I think that what I liked about the idea of 60 seconds, that it doesn't have to give you all the answers, but you are perceiving the world from the perspective of the family. And they definitely have they don't have all the answers. Probably they have less answers than questions, and you as well. So it's all up to how you imagine stuff.
That's perfect, because I mean, when you play a game, when we design a game for you to play, I mean, one of the things we have at our disposal. It's not only our imagination how to come up with things, but your imagination to fill in the gaps, which is essentially what you're saying. And if you hack into the player's imagination in the right way, you're actually getting more fun from the game as a player, because you interpret it in a way that you think is right and fun for you. And I think a lot of people did that with 60 seconds, because there was just enough visual and textual and audio cues that would get you into the right mood, into the right understanding and immersion in the environment, and then you did the rest for us. Thank you very much. you were great collaborators in this project. Every time you play 60 seconds, you fill in the gaps that we left for you to fill in, and I think it works great.
Yeah, it works really great. I'm really happy when I see fan arts, when I hear theories, stories. That's actually one of the fuels I take from the fandom, that I really wanted to do more, because I really feel like there's a lot of engagement. There was another question, like, will we ever learn the other birthdays of other family members? And I would like to say no, because then we would have to make 4 videos per year, and that's a lot.
I mean, if we ever switch to just making videos, is that what you want? Is that what you really want? Or would you rather get games from us?
I'm guessing like the answer is both. Hopefully you like the videos we're working on. You like the Mary Jane birthdays. That's one of the highlights of my year. Like doing those crazy stuff. But yeah, like we're the gaming studio, so games, definitely games. All right. Do you still have something in your?
I think we pretty much went for the main one, so I guess it would be fun to do the second segment that was planned for us by our fantastic crew, sitting there behind the cameras. You don't see them, but they're making sure that you see us, so thank you to them for being here with us. And you thank them, because that's why we're here.
Yeah, and what they did, they prepared some pictures for us, 60 seconds or Robot Gentleman related, and we're gonna react to them. We have no idea what they are.
Yeah, we heard their pictures. We might have, I don't know, we might be in the pictures, someone might be in the pictures, and we're supposed to give our genuine reactions to them and tell you all about what's up there.
Yeah. So
We'll do our best.
hit us. Oh yeah.
All right. Okay. That is a picture.
Yeah.
This is us. One of them is you. The other is me.
Definitely, yeah.
Definitely, yes. And there is a running build of 60 seconds behind us. Or maybe it's a wallpaper.
Yeah, I think that might be actually a wallpaper, but that was exactly 10 years ago, maybe minus 3 days.
Yes, 10 years ago, minus 3 days. That's Digital Dragons 2015. The first time we ever dressed in the full robot outfits with the top hats, goggles, the shirt, the vest.
Yeah.
And we were showing the game for the second time, I guess.
That was like a couple of days before the release.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Do you know what that is?
All right. That's actually more than 10 years ago. That's March, I guess, 2015.
Yeah.
This is your tiny room in your
tiny
flat at the time, yeah?
Yeah.
So this is before the robot get-ups. That's why we're wearing the long sleeves, because that was the first iteration of like robot identification.
But that was the point. When we went, well, you were there before me, many years before me, but when I went to the game industry, I wanted us to not to look like all the game developers.
Yeah.
And every game developer had like a T-shirt with the logo.
Yeah.
So at this point, I already had like this idea, like let's not make a t-shirt. At least let's make a long sleeve to be, like
Yeah.
something else.
And that was already an improvement on the
Yeah.
regular uniform. It was still not as fun as we wanted it to be.
Yeah. But actually, the first time we went, public with the game on the first expo, we all have the long sleeves.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
2014. So
Yeah.
that was like the.
And the picture you saw before, it was on the wall. You can see actual pictures. It was like on these huge paper prints that was on the walls of our first booth ever.
Mhm.
And after that, I took them and put them on my walls. That was like the backdrop for one of our first marketing picture. Because at this point, we were thinking about marketing most of the time. That making a game is not only making a game; it's also making game trailers, it's also making pictures or some videos, and hopefully you will see some of them
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah. It was March 2015, which means this was around the time that we released the Steam Greenlight trailer. So it might have been just before we released it or while we were working on it. Definitely, we did a lot of marketing stuff around March because we were already preparing for the impending launch. So a lot of that was on our minds. And well, a month later in April, that was the first time I came up with the top hat, minus the cool shirt and vest. And then the very next month, May, so the first picture, we appeared as the robots, and we've been the robots ever since.
So, right. Oh yeah, this one.
Oh yeah, there we go. The robots. This time, this is San Francisco.
Yeah, this is San Francisco 2016.
Yeah, so first trip to GDC, I guess. So we've got Juliusz, Berenika, and myself, and the owner of the Steampunk shop in San Francisco. What was the name of the shop?
The Distractions.
The Distractions. It was in 8 Ashbury.
Ashbury, yeah.
Sadly, the shop is now closed, but we always went to that shop and we bought a bunch of our gadgets.
Well, this vest is from the shop.
Yeah.
This vest and the other one I got. It was always a pilgrimage when you went to GDC. If we did, because it wasn't every year. Every time we went to GDC, we went there to look at new outfit ideas, vests, top hats, or whatever. We got some leather pouches that I'm still having mine. I may not right now here, but it's there somewhere. I think we actually bought some top hats as well.
Could be, yeah.
Goggles.
Yeah, definitely. We had a bunch of stuff from the Distractions. It was a great shop. And speaking of GDC, that's actually an interesting fun fact.
Yes.
That's me totally not getting arrested. So okay. Yeah, that's me in a prison in the Netherlands.
Please go on.
Yeah, I was stuck there in a cell for 2 days, I think, because we were showcasing 60 seconds on or parsecs actually. That was 60 parsecs. I think in the prison in the Netherlands, in I want to say Utrecht, maybe, a small university town.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Utrecht.
Yeah, it was good fun, and they organized this this expo there, kind of small, very very fun expo in the prison, and every developer was based in their own cell, and we would decorate the cell, and obviously the cell worked great for making it look like a Fallout shelter. So maybe it was actually 60 seconds, because I think.
Yeah, I think so. That was 60 seconds because I went to Utrecht next year, and we were definitely showcasing 60 parsecs.
All right. So yeah. I guess Robot Gentleman in prison. Yep. That happened.
Oh.
All right. Ted in the flesh.
Yeah, the real Ted. that's from our set. Actually, that was this building before you got renovated, but we were looking for a place when we can shoot a live action commercial for 60 seconds.
It's the Switch version, specifically.
The Switch version, and we wanted to be like all the other cool Switch trailer productions with live actors.
Yeah, especially the ones made by Nintendo, because they
Yeah.
were pushing out these very kind of funky trailers with people doing weird stuff, and it was always live action,
Yeah.
and it was very gimmicky. And we thought, yeah, I mean, what a better idea to go on to Switch with a trailer where we have live action Ted. But then live action Ted was imposed on the cartoony Fallout shelter.
Yeah,
So everything else was taken from the game, but
hence the green screen.
yeah, Robert here played Ted in a fantastic way, and hopefully he'll come back to play more Ted in the future.
Yeah, small trivia. Robert is a game developer,
Mhm.
the creator of Black Moon Studios.
Yeah, Black Moon Design,
Black Moon Design. sorry.
and he's. I think it's fair to say that he's the kind of longest standing indie developer in Poznan. I don't think there's anyone else who's been an indie developer longer than he has been around here. And together with Robert and a couple of other developers, Sauce Monster Couch, we formed a while ago, a few years ago, we formed an indie collective in Poznan. So this building where we're at right now not only houses us as the studio, it also houses other studios, indie studios from Poznan, and including Robert.
And a fun fact, also in this building there's a Magic the Gathering league going on. Like it's the headquarters of Poznan Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, they
League.
have their competitions
Yeah.
regularly, and sometimes to get to our studio you have to kind of wade in for a crowd playing Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, it's wild.
It is wild, yeah. Okay, I guess that's a follow-up from the
Yeah.
previous photo. That's still the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, but what we were like challenged by this shot is how to make like a close-up on hands playing
Yeah,
the game with the camera between two people. So basically, you have two actors, I would say, lending their hands, playing the game. So basically, those are two different
yeah.
persons
So
holding the Switch.
so
Yeah,
this is Kacper on the left. This is me on the right, and we were playing the game together.
yeah.
One hand, one half, the other hand, one half.
So this is the cinema magic. You were watching that and you felt like those are like hands of one person.
Of one Ted.
The truth is totally different.
The truth will shock you.
Oh yeah, that's GDC.
Yeah, so that's more San Francisco. So yeah, fun fact about GDCs, I guess. Just we started going to GDCs 2016. It's always been interesting for us, but also I always really wanted, when we started growing, I always really wanted for our developers to get a chance to experience GDC, because back in the day when I worked in other AAA studios before, only select few would be sent to kind of high-profile conferences or expos like GDC. So we decided that every time we go to GDC, and we try to go as often as possible, we would get our developers to go, so that everyone in the studio would get at least one chance to go to San Francisco. And we were able to do that pretty much until the pandemic. Then we hit a snag because we didn't travel for a few years, but then we went back last year. And hopefully we'll keep the tradition going. It might be GDC, it might be something else, but we'll definitely keep traveling all around. We've done a lot of traveling for 60 seconds and later 60 parsecs, and it's definitely part of the fun of being in game development, is that you get to show your game to different people in different places, and that traveling comes with the territory. So yeah.
Yeah, it's like a tour kind of. But
yeah.
yeah, always there's a problem when you're traveling. You're not working on a game, so at this point we're trying to be working on a game instead of traveling. And then when we're gonna have some games to travel with, we'll definitely
Yeah. Yeah.
return to traveling, I guess.
Hopefully, yeah, with new games. Not just one game, games.
So, what's this about?
That was a random crowbar that I picked up because the Combine were invading.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's, you know, story as old as time.
Logical, yeah.
Yeah. I was half alive and, you know, had to do something about it.
Look at that. Is it Los Angeles?
I think it is. I think it was, yeah.
So I think that's the moment when we really tried hard to go to the Hollywood sign,
Yes.
and we were looking for a perfect spot to get there. So we ended up in some like totally quiet neighborhood, maybe even on the outskirts of LA.
Yeah, I think the only live live thing we've met there was a coyote.
Yeah, there was a coyote.
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed those sunglasses though. Like I had 3 pair of them and I destroyed all of them.
Speaking of Half-Life references, that's Valve. That's a Valve.
Yeah, that's the headquarters of Valve. Yeah.
So that's that's Seattle. Valve have an amazing office, and I think definitely there was some inspiration on our part when we were designing our office to have it as a very fun, interesting space visually, and Valve was a reference, but also I guess Clay Entertainment. So we had a chance to visit them back in the day, and their office was also really cool. All the Don't Starve visuals and whatnot.
Like paintings.
Paintings.
Like this one. I think
Yeah.
that's one of the reference inspirations we took, that we want to like cherish the art that we're doing and our artists are working on. We're like putting them nicely on frame. Like yeah. So actually at the Clay office there was a Winston character in this really nice frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Good times.
I have no idea. Oh
That's
yeah,
still Valve.
that's still Valve. Yeah.
That's still Valve. I mean, they have so many nice things to photograph yourself against. I think there was like an extra picture of me with the portal gun.
We definitely took some advantages that we were able to be there and make pictures, so we did pictures, like that.
Yeah. This was one of the first expos we went to, I guess. It was 2015 or 2016 EGX, I guess, in Birmingham.
Oh, I wasn't there. You were
yeah.
there alone, I guess.
Yeah, I was alone. You can't really see it in the picture, but I actually had the because we had these little stalls with other indie devs, and the computer was packed into a suitcase, and the suitcase was full of pins that I gave away. But if anyone played the game, they would I would just open the suitcase and they would have the screen in the suitcase. And they would just sit down or stand there and play the game. It was a fun setup. And then when I was done, I would just close the suitcase and go away. We still have the suitcase.
Well,
there we go. That's the suitcase. Okay, it wasn't just pins. It was the postcards as well. We still have a few of those left. That was a fun.
We had to order at least 5,000.
Something like that.
Yeah, we were finding them in our closets and cupboards, whatever. Years after that. Oh, that's.
Yeah, that's the Polish delegation at the EGX booth. That's other indie devs and whatnot. So that's the same event.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and that's Alice from American McG.
Yeah.
And
Playing 60 seconds.
Yeah, she dropped by. And played 60
she survived hard there.
Yeah, she knows about survival.
Yep.
Oh, that's our booth at PGA 2015 actually.
15. You're right.
15, yeah, I remember because I flew from India 2 days before that picture happened, or maybe 1 day, and my luggage was lost, somewhere on some airport, and I only had, well, this outfit and probably one more shirt, and I went to Poznan to the PGA. I haven't seen even the booth before because you were setting the booth here in Poznan, and I was just like it's the first day maybe after my couple of weeks in India. I came to Poland.
Yeah. It was a fun booth because this is the same booth actually. I had the same booth standing there with I guess the entire studio at the time.
At this time, yeah, that was the entire studio.
So Juliusz, Berenika, who joined us pretty much just before we released 60 Seconds. She would later go to pretty much write almost the entire DLC, first DLC for Seconds. I think it was the Suitcase DLC, actually. Surprise, surprise. And well, and me. So the booth was fun because we actually tried to make it look like a shelter. It was the first time we tried this, and we had these. You see, there's like these panels on the wall that we painted ourselves and put them up, so it was like grayish, and then we hung up different props that would resemble those from the bunker. So we had a gas mask, we had a rifle. I think there was something that kept dropping on our heads all the time. It might have been the rifle or the axe. There's these things.
I remember there's a picture with me just like standing like that beside the wall. Because I was holding the panel, waiting for you to come up with some glue or something.
Yeah.
And it looks like I'm like really weirdly, like hanging there.
As yeah.
Yeah, I got my luggage back. Thank you. Yeah.
Good for you. That's Berenika with all the postcards.
Yeah.
As Juliusz said, we had 5,000 of them, and we were very generous in terms of giving them away. And at this point, I think we have a handful left. So yeah, we did a good job at giving them away. Now I miss them.
Okay.
Okay. That's a stupid picture of me and the guys from Lichthund. They did a game called Lichtspiel. Very fun. I know. German electro Viking space
yeah,
something
simulator.
Yes, it was good fun. They released the game shortly after us. It was a cool documentary made about them as they were working on the game called
We Are Alright.
We're Alright, yeah. If you get a chance, watch it.
And that's Monster Couch booth that was next to ours on the same PGA 2015.
Yep. They were showcasing their first game, Die for Valhalla. Hence the costume swap. Krzysiek over there is a robot gentleman for a second, and I'm a Viking for a second as well. But as you see, I'm robot again. He is Viking again, or I guess nowadays they're more into birds and stuff. But they're doing great. It's actually interesting because Monster Couch was our first investment. Apart from creating our own games, we did a couple of investments into fellow indies to help them start up and get their games out. And this was one of these games, and it actually kickstarted their studio. That is pretty much doing fantastic now.
Yeah, they're doing great with their own games. You probably know the Wingspan. Or if you don't know, you should know Wingspan.
Wingspan, yeah.
Yeah. But also, like, they really helped us with 60 parsecs.
They did, yeah.
So we were very thankful that they could help us because there was so much work. We actually needed some extra hands. So yeah, Monster Couch really helped us out.
Yeah, they did a lot of work on the Scavenge in 60 parsecs.
Yeah. I see robots, and more robots.
Yeah, I mean, that's our perfect environment. I think this is the San Jose Comic-Con.
Yeah, that might be it. Yeah.
Yeah. So after I think one of the GDCs, we went to our first ever Comic-Con. That was good fun. It was good fun. We've met a lot of fellow robots, as you see. So we had the time of our lives.
Okay, I have no idea.
Huh. Could be anywhere. There's been a lot of expos. Maybe Digital Dragons?
Really. I think that might be also some kind of there was like this Microsoft event when we're like showcasing different games made by. Yeah, maybe that's it. Or was it like Digital Dragons with the awards? Ah, it's the awards show. Okay. Okay, I think that that wasn't my best picture. I'm not even think that that's.
Yeah, we obviously meet a lot of fellow robots on these journeys, but an interesting thing is that sometimes we meet people who clearly belong in Robot Gentlemen, at least in terms of the attire. It happens quite regularly. Every now and then there's someone in a top hat. I think the first time we met someone in a top hat who thought we're the same crowd was the first time we were wearing our outfits in 2015. And a guy was going on a bicycle next to us as we were leaving the expo. He stops, he jumps off, and he says, "Oh, guys, are you also going to the Magic convention?" We're like, we could say yes, we could say no. Fortunately, we said no, so he was a bit disappointed and went. But maybe if we said yes, we'd be magicians now.
Well, you know, like after the show called "The Mysteries of Magicians finally revealed" or something like that, I think it totally killed the branch.
So maybe we've picked the right industry.
Yeah.
So yeah, games.
All right. So that's all, right?
That's all of weird pictures from the past. I mean, we have more, but this was the selection. It's a fun one. Early days, most of them. Yeah. There's so much to dig through. I mean, it's just enough. There's probably enough material to, well, make a podcast for sure, but probably a TV series.
TV series, TV podcast series.
TV podcast series?
Yeah.
Maybe. Something like
So
that.
a talk show?
It could work. A robot talk
There's
show.
something like that, right?
I mean, we can still branch. We can still pivot. I don't know. Opportunities are there.
Yeah. So this is the time when we do a little break, and after the break we're gonna have something special.
Yep. So stay tuned.
Don't go
Stick
anywhere.
with us. We'll be right back in a minute or two.
Yeah.
And we're back. Thanks for sticking with us for this final segment of today's stream. We mentioned a lot about the games we make, but also the videos that we filmed along the way in the last decade. And you just had a chance to see the latest video that we made for Mary Jane's birthday. It's actually the 7th video featuring Mary Jane and her birthday. But this time round, we had an opportunity, a very unique opportunity, to work not only with Mary Jane, but also the soup. It was a great privilege to work with such talented actors, and what a privilege it is today to welcome them in our studio. Please give a round of applause for the soup and Mary Jane herself. Thank you for being with us and for joining us for this stream. And I'm sure everyone would like to hear, how was your experience working on this magnificent film? Mary Jane. Okay, I couldn't put it better. It was a very compelling experience, and it was one of the best masterpieces that you've starred in. Is that right? But was it fun to work with Soup as well? So that's a yes. Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Soup, would you like to elaborate? Was it a very demanding set? I saw you had to make a lot of physical routines there. Yeah, kind of rolling down the hill and whatnot. Yes, very demanding physically, yes. So were you able to do that? I mean, you're supposed to last for 737 years, and you're looking like you're in good shape, but can you make it? Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's obvious the Soup is here to stay with us for 737 years, which is perfect. So I think a final question to you, folks, is there anything you'd like to say to our wonderful audience today? Thank you very much, and eat soup. I wouldn't be able to put it better myself. Thank you very much for joining us for this 10th year anniversary stream of 60 Seconds. And remember, we're doing another stream in 7 days from now, next Sunday, same time. And we're going to have not only some interesting announcements, but also we're going to talk about the future.